Remember this woman? Well, she got national attention and universal scorn for calling police on an African-American man in Central Park this spring.
Please don't come close to me.
Sir, I'm asking you to stop recording me.
Please don't come close to me.
Please take your phone off.
Please don't come close to
And
me.
I'm taking a picture and calling the cops.
Please call the cops. Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Please tell them whatever you like.
There is an African-American man. I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog. I'm sorry, I can't hear you either. I'm being threatened by a man in the ramble. Please send the cops immediately.
Now, the woman, Amy Cooper, she's charged with filing a false report, which is a misdemeanor. But there's a complication. The man she called the cops on, Christian Cooper, is not cooperating with prosecutors. He says she's already paid a steep price as she's lost her job and gotten castigated. So Mr. Cooper says the DA is on his own. You know, there are a lot of cases, seemingly unfortunately every day, where there's a racial component to this, and which is something that should require criminal punishment, which should require basically, you know, the scarlet letter, lose your job over. We're seeing it even playing out in the last 24 hours in the NFL to a different degree. I start with you, Mayo. I tell you, that guy, he had a lot more grace than me. The woman who all he asked her to do was leash her dog, she put him at real potential risk. And if not for the videotape here, who knows what could have happened. That said, you handle biased crimes. Where do you take the line between somebody acting idiotically, but having both their career and maybe freedom compromised? But I can make the counter argument that says if you don't draw a hard line, how are we supposed to know and handle going forward to make sure these kind of things don't happen again?
Well, I think that when you have cases, anytime you have false reports, whether it's what's been suggested regarding Jussie Smollett or with this woman, you have to take it seriously for a number of reasons. And her more so than even Jussie Smollett, because she identifies an actual living human being and put him in harm's way. And it was not inconceivable that he could get arrested, or it could become one of these tragic incidents that we end up speaking about for years, where he gets killed at the hands of police who should never have had contact with him. So she's putting the police in harm's way. It's not inconceivable that an officer couldn't have gotten hurt either. She's putting him in harm's way. She lost her job, but you know what? When you get arrested for a small amount of drugs, you lose your job too, and then you get prosecuted. In my estimation, she should be prosecuted, and I don't think that they necessarily need him to do so, because they have video here, and they also have other statements and other evidence, and I think that they should go forward with the case. Ultimately, what the determination is, I'll leave that to the prosecutors. There are a number of reasonable ways to resolve it, but it should certainly, I think, end with her at least going through the criminal justice system, because these are the types of cases that help erode the trust that exists within the system in the first place.
Did you pay enough of a price? And by that I mean, she lost her job. She is a poster child for everything wrong in this chapter of American history. And I ask this, and I'll start with you, Doug, because an NFL player said something blatantly anti-Semitic right now and castigated someone else. People are saying, should he be cut as a result for that? This different, I think, because they called law enforcement. Who knows how it could have turned out? But has she paid enough of a price?
Well, Rich, I mean, listen. You look at what happened here. She did the most serious of things. She activated the criminal justice system for no reason at all, and actually for a false reason. You could take away the racial component of this, and what she did is still as bad. You see her on videotape, and she's actually reporting a false incident, and she knows that the result of her phone call will be that the police are involved, and then after that, potentially a prosecution will take place. If you don't go after these cases, whether there's a racial component or not, you're completely undermining the system.
Jimmy, though, how much does it complicate getting a prosecution if the aggrieved party here says, A, I'm not going to participate, and B, I think she's paid enough of a price? If he's already saying that, how hard it'll be to convince that she deserves punishment if the impacted party doesn't think so?
Oh, I don't think it'll be difficult to demonstrate that she deserves punishment. But to Mayo's point, the issue is when you don't have a complainant who's cooperating, are you still able to prove your case? And in this instance, they have, I believe, more than enough evidence to prove their case. They've got the video, they've got the statements, and they can absolutely prosecute the case without him. Look, this is his independent judgment that she's paid enough of a price, and he's entitled to that. But I agree with Mayo and Doug that these are situations that need to be prosecuted because of the danger that she put this fella in, and as Mayo said, put other people in. And even with and without the racial component, these are cases that should be prosecuted. They have the evidence to do so. It becomes more of a problem when they absolutely need the complainant in order to prove their case. That's just not the situation here. And I mean, that video demonstrates the need for punishment in and of itself. So if the DA wants to proceed, they're not going to have a problem.
So you guys know I have sent your individual shots to Room Rater, and we are going to have an independent arbiter decide, you know, whether it's Doug's abstract art background or Mayo's learned bookcase or Jimmy joining us via a boat, now a car. We expect him to join us airborne next Wednesday. We're going to see how the folks at Room Rater judge your backgrounds. But you guys doing all right otherwise?
Yeah.
Yes.
By the way, is that a real thing? Room
Yeah.
Raider is a real thing? Oh.
Listen, fellas, let's talk after the show because we'll all figure out a background for next week.
That's right. And I do like the beer Grizzly Adams. All right, guys, as always, thank you. When we come back, a new low. And that's saying something when it comes for Tucker Carlson from Fox News. We're going to show you how the guy who sits in an air-conditioned studio is calling a war hero who lost 2 legs and earned a Purple Heart a coward. You have to see it to believe it.